Season's greetings, Bermuda. I'm delighted that my family and I can share a few moments with you from the Bermuda National Gallery as they celebrate 30 years of enriching the arts in Bermuda. We are surrounded by the beautiful creations of talented Bermudian artists, and this inspiring setting fills us with pride. We have journeyed through Advent, and Christmas is upon us. We prepare to say farewell to 2022 and look forward with hope and expectation for a new year. For Christians, this period marks the excitement and promise brought to the world through the birth of Jesus Christ. There is hope, joy, peace, and love, which extend beyond the manger into every family and every situation. Throughout this season, our community renews family ties, spends quality time with friends, and in our tradition, there are smells and sounds that signal the special festive atmosphere that is Christmas. However, for some, this has been a year of loss. Loss of a loved one, loss of a job or an opportunity. Where we can help those less fortunate than ourselves, we should. And where we can lift the spirits of someone, let us make the effort to extend ourselves to them and share the love that is a part of this season. Finally, after 32 months of restrictions and regulations, we have seen an end to the public health emergency that impacted the enjoyment of our holiday traditions. In the wake of the height of the pandemic, the world is experiencing threats to economic and social stability. And here at home, these global conditions have local impact. The new year is full of promise, but there will be those who need assistance. And so the work of Christmas does not stop our responsibility to the less fortunate, as it must continue throughout the year. In September, the world paused to honor and reflect on the life of Her Majesty, the late Queen Elizabeth, recognizing her devotion to duty fulfilled to the very end of her long life. There have also been bright moments in 2022. All of Bermuda was transfixed by a young Mackenzie Cole Tuckett, standing at the dispatch box in the UK's House of Commons as she spoke so eloquently about her island home. Sporting history was made in Birmingham when Janai Perrenchie soared to a Commonwealth bronze medal. And then in Abu Dhabi, when Dame Flora Duffy stormed to her record-setting 4th WTS World Triathlon title. These Bermudian successes interrupted the challenges of our daily lives and provided a rallying point for the pride we feel in our island home. Chris and I are looking forward to reconnecting with our family and friends this season, and we are grateful to be able to enjoy such a special time of year here at home.
In this beautiful setting, I wish to express our gratitude to the artists, musicians, dancers, and young creatives who share Bermuda culture through their artistic gifts and keep the art scene alive and accessible to all. Like many Bermudian families, we are busy parents, amazed at how quickly our children are growing. We treasure this holiday time with them and with our extended family. Christmas is a perfect time to reflect on the natural beauty of our island home. Please take the time to enjoy some of Bermuda's treasures, the museums, parks, and railway trails this holiday season.
We all spend this holiday in many different ways. And so however your family celebrates, we wish you the peace and the joy that this time of year brings. From our family to yours, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year.
Season's greetings, Bermuda. The Christmas holiday season is one of the most treasured holidays in many Bermuda households. It is a time when we join fellow Christians around the world to rejoice in the birth of our Savior Jesus Christ and his eternal message of everlasting love, compassion, and hope. We also enjoy the time-honored traditions and festivities of being in Bermuda, such as baking and eating delicious cassava pie, or Korean pie, turkey, ham, getting our homes painted and ensuring that there is more than enough food and fun to go around. For many, it's a time to joyfully reunite with our families and friends, to reignite bonds and celebrate the gifts of life. For others, it's a time for meditation, prayer, and the fulfillment of spiritual growth and inner peace. No matter your schedule, in this busy Christmas season, I urge all of us to take the time to reminisce and see Christmas from the perspective of our young people. Having the pure and innocent perspective can help to prioritize what is truly important. As the late Queen Elizabeth II said in her last Christmas message, it is the simplicity of the Christmas story that makes it so universally appealing, simple happenings which formed the starting point of the life of Jesus, a man whose teachings have traveled through generations and time and has been the cornerstone of the Christian faith. His birth marked a new beginning. His compassion, love, and hope has continued to transcend time and generations. Indeed, the past year has given us much to reflect upon. In fact, we can all agree that Christmas 2022 is like no other Christmas of the recent past. Internationally, the war in Ukraine, the accompanying supply chain challenges, and global inflation have had our undivided attention. In Bermuda, we continue to navigate our way through the challenging terrain of managing the escalating cost of living, the breakdown of many of our social norms, and the economic challenges which have deepened, resulting in the disruption of business activities and job losses. While these unprecedented trials tested our resilience, I am proud to say that Bermuda and our people were not complacent. We did not let our guard down. We got on with restoring our lives, strengthening our families, and rebuilding our economy. As we re-examine the accomplishments and challenges of 2022, now is the time to firmly focus on new dreams, new possibilities, new hopes, new aspirations for the future of our families, our nation, and ourselves as individuals. The Christmas period is the time for the renewal of our collective resolve as a country to unite behind the vision of a cohesive and an inclusive society in pursuit of fundamental freedoms, human rights, peace, and shared prosperity. We must continue to promote peace and safety. Our homes, our streets, neighborhoods must be safe for every man, woman, and child, for people with disabilities, and for our treasured seniors. On that note, let us also remember families who are facing their first Christmas having lost a loved one. Let's embrace them as we know that in a time of grief, a kind word, sharing a meal, or even just touching base can mean so much. In this Christmas of 2022, my hopes and prayer is that the spirit and celebration of the season will be the solid rock on which we continue to stand together to build a united, democratic, and prosperous Bermuda. On behalf of my family and the One Bermuda Alliance, we wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Two years since being sworn into office, it has been a blessing in 2022 to have been able to experience more and more of Bermuda's traditions and innovation. There has been tremendous Bermudian success in sports this year, as competitors and as hosts on the international stage. Ocean races returned to Bermuda, and the island was also delighted to welcome back Sail GP. It was a joy to watch Bermuda's women's hockey team qualify for the 2023 CAC Games. The much-loved Butterfield PGA tournament was joined by new additions to the calendar, such as the USA Track and Field Bermuda Games. As part of the preparations for the 2022 Commonwealth Games, the grounds of Government House became the stage for performers, athletes, and baton bearers as part of the 60-second stop on the Queen's Baton Relay. Attending the friendly games in Birmingham, feeling the genuine sense of the Commonwealth family despite the intense competition was a personal highlight for me. But I will genuinely cherish the opportunity to have supported all of Bermuda's triathletes, swimmers, road cyclists, and track and field athletes on the international stage. In November, Bermuda welcomed Dame Flora Duffy home to compete in the 2022 World Triathlon Championship Series. I could hear the crowd that cheered her on to victory, a victory which would spur her onto a record 4th overall World Series win later that month. In June, there were many events to mark the Platinum Jubilee, including the return of the Queen's Birthday Parade to Front Street with a gun salute to Her Majesty. I welcomed over 400 members of the public and representatives from various charities and voluntary organisations to Government House for the first full-blown Queen's Birthday party since the start of the pandemic. At that event, I shared my reflection that when we come to look back on the Second Elizabethan age, that there will be far greater emphasis on how much things have changed rather than the extent to which they remained the same. It became a great comfort that our late Queen witnessed people around the world celebrate her in life. Though sadly, just some 3 months later, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the longest-serving British monarch, passed at the age of 96. It was my distinct privilege to represent Bermuda at the state funeral alongside leaders from across the Commonwealth and the entire world to give thanks for the life and service of Queen Elizabeth II. As Lieutenant General Sir Alexander Hood had done 70 years ago, I was called upon to lead a proclamation ceremony in Bermuda. On the morning of the 11th of September, in the city of Hamilton, I proclaimed His Majesty King Charles III as King of the United Kingdom, of his realms and territories, and as head of the Commonwealth. This year, we have seen the return of some of Bermuda's traditional ceremonies and parades. In October, I was delighted to see so many members of the public, visitors and school children in attendance as I made my first official state visit to the town of St. George for the peppercorn ceremony. I have been delighted to take part in the ongoing celebrations of the 125th anniversary of the Berkeley Institute. In November, the new Deputy Governor, Mr. Tom Oppenheim, who I was pleased to swear in this spring, read the speech from the throne on my behalf as part of a traditional ceremony to convene the legislature. And the return of the Remembrance Day Parade saw a wonderful crowd gathered at Front Street to pay our respects to those who gave their lives and to honour those veterans whose service we are forever indebted to. Our island home is not immune to global events. Bermuda and Bermudians felt the impacts this year. I met with representatives of Bermuda's Ukrainian community in March to offer our support and compassion following Russia's illegal invasion. As we look to the future, it remains imperative that we do what we can to protect the environment and our food security. I was pleased to host a reception at Government House to celebrate the launch in Bermuda of the Blue Shield programme, a UK government initiative aimed at tackling the challenges of illegal fishing and unlawful marine activities. Government House continues to work with the Government of Bermuda to highlight the importance of a healthy and sustainable marine environment, as well as joining many on the island in growing and donating whatever we can to support those in our community struggling with the cost of living. I also applaud the ongoing efforts to clean up our island and reduce plastic waste. The pandemic triggered many changes in our world. We have seen globally an increase in anxiety and depression resulting from lockdowns and quarantine. In Bermuda, where home, family, and community are everything, the pandemic has taken its toll. It has, though, brought about a welcome shift in emphasis on the struggle to maintain good mental health, which has allowed for more open conversations and less stigma. For many, celebrating Christmas will be eagerly anticipated as we worship and gather with our loved ones. But for some, Christmas can be overwhelming, more so now than ever as the cost of living continues to rise globally. In a year when we have again lost too many to COVID-19, road traffic accidents, and violent crime, there will be a sense of loss for many Bermudian families. I pray that in the year ahead, that we will grow in love and compassion for others. On behalf of my family and my colleagues at Government House, I wish you and your family a very happy Christmas and a peaceful New Year.
I'm standing here in this exquisite chapel of St. George at Windsor Castle, so close to where my beloved mother, the late Queen, is laid to rest with my dear father. I am reminded of the deeply touching letters, cards, and messages which so many of you have sent my wife and myself, and I cannot thank you enough for the love and sympathy you have shown our whole family. Christmas is a particularly poignant time for all of us who have lost loved ones. We feel their absence at every familiar turn of the season and remember them in each cherished tradition. In the much-loved carol, O Little Town of Bethlehem, we sing of how in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. My mother's belief in the power of that light was an essential part of her faith in God, but also her faith in people, and it is one which I share with my whole heart. It is a belief in the extraordinary ability of each person to touch with goodness and compassion the lives of others and to shine a light in the world around them. This is the essence of our community and the very foundation of our society. We see it in the selfless dedication of our armed forces and emergency services, who work tirelessly to keep us all safe, and who perform so magnificently as we mourn the passing of our late Queen. We see it in our health and social care professionals, our teachers, and indeed all those working in public service, whose skill and commitment are at the heart of our communities. And at this time of great anxiety and hardship, be it for those around the world facing conflict, famine, or natural disaster, or for those at home finding ways to pay their bills and keep their families fed and warm, we see it in the humanity of people throughout our nations and the Commonwealth who so readily respond to the plight of others. I particularly want to pay tribute to all those wonderfully kind people who so generously give food or donations, or that most precious commodity of all, their time, to support those around them in greatest need, together with the many charitable organizations which do such extraordinary work in the most difficult circumstances. Our churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, and gurdwaras have once again united in feeding the hungry, providing love and support throughout the year. Such heartfelt solidarity is the most inspiring expression of loving our neighbour as ourselves. The Prince and Princess of Wales recently visited Wales, shining a light on practical examples of this community spirit. Some years ago, I was able to fulfill a lifelong wish to visit Bethlehem and the Church of the Nativity. There I went down into the chapel of the manger and stood in silent reverence by the silver star that is inlaid on the floor and marks the place of our Lord Jesus Christ's birth. It meant more to me than I can possibly express to stand on that spot where, as the Bible tells us, the light that has come into the world was born. While Christmas is, of course, a Christian celebration, the power of light overcoming darkness is celebrated across the boundaries of faith and belief. So whatever faith you have, or whether you have none, it is in this life-giving light and with the true humility that lies in our service to others that I believe we can find hope for the future. Let us therefore celebrate it together and cherish it always. With all my heart, I wish each of you a Christmas of peace, happiness, and everlasting light.